This is
Make It Plain.
Make it plain.
MIP
With Masamela Matfumo.
Mark Thompson.
Make it plain.
Get woke.
Fighting to make sure that our brothers and our sisters are informed right here. I think it's only right that since we're here in his city, we make sure that we give him the opportunity to say a few words. This is our dear brother Hobson Powell. Let's show him some love. Brother Hobson, shoot the power for us, good brother.
First, giving honor to God. My name is Hobson Powell, born and raised here in Washington, D.C. I serve as the founder and director of policy for Concerned Citizens D.C. Concerned Citizens, we came out around this time last year, a little bit after the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor protest, because what we realized is that we weren't just fighting back against that, right? We're fighting against an America that has been against us since its inception. And so if we are truly trying to make progress, we have to be intellectually honest about what America has and hasn't been so that we can move forward together. That's right. We watched a pivotal election be delivered not only in the general election but in the Senate runoff, right?
That's right.
By black voters.
That's right.
We did that.
That's right.
We showed up and we showed out and we delivered the majority. But it's not enough for our leaders to espouse progressive values if they have the power to make progressive change and don't do it. So what we need is bold change from these people that we elected in because they owe us.
That's right.
They owe us. They have been owed us, but they owe us now. We see it, right? As I stand here and I talk to you all about this democracy that we're fighting to be included in, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about DC statehood.
Say that.
Right here, we are seated in a place where over 700,000 mainly black and brown residents surround a democracy they can't participate in.
Come on now.
My vote doesn't matter in the ways that it should. And as somebody who just became a father a little over 3 weeks ago, I want my daughter's vote to matter. I don't want her to inherit this fight.
That's right.
Right? And so as we have these larger conversations about renegotiating the social contract with America, let's not forget D.C.
That's right.
Let's not forget that if D.C. becomes the 51st state, we'd be the only majority black state in the entire union.
Right.
And so it is no mystery why it hasn't happened yet.
It's
no mystery why, as DC's black population has dwindled to its lowest, this conversation is now getting to its highest around enfranchising the residents.
That's right.
And so what I want us to do is I want us to stand with DC statehood. I want us to stand with all these fights across the country because an attack against one of us is an attack against all of us.
That's right.
Until we are all free, none of us are free.
That's right.
Power to the people.
Power to the people.
Black lives, they matter here.
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 Black voters, 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 they matter here.
DC, it matters 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 here.
All right, real quick, we're gonna go through our speakers. We're gonna speak chant. We got Tamir, Harper, representing Alpha Phi Alpha.
All right.
It's still afternoon. Good afternoon, brother.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, brother.
Good afternoon.
Today is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. And while we're glad in it, we must remember we are not taking backward steps. We are not going backwards. So I'm going to share some brief remarks and try to be brief, but you know, Alpha men, we like to talk. In 1957, Alpha Brother Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said, give us the ballot, and we will fill our legislative halls with men of goodwill.
Yes, sir.
But just in 2021, Alpha Brother Senator Raphael Warnock said, this is Jim Crow in new clothes, when referring to voter suppression. Well, family, the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated adamantly opposed, and today we are here to double down on both overt and covert actions to oppress our vote.
That's right.
Because we know the power of voter registration and education. Senator Warnock showed us the power of voter registration and education. Congressman Bobby Scott showed us the power of voter registration and education. Vice President Harris showed us the power of voter registration and education. So as we stand here, the brothers of Alpha calls for the immediate passing of For the People Act and John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the immediate end of the filibuster, so that we can strengthen and restore the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Because as I said earlier, Alpha brothers don't take backward steps. So we refuse to allow it to happen now. As stated, my name is Tamir Harper, and I have the honor of being the Assistant Vice President of the Eastern Region of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity
All right.
Incorporated,
What a grand
and as
house.
a board member.
Yes.
I rise on behalf of our General President, Dr. Willis L. Lonzo III,
Yes.
and our over 200,000 initiated brothers and 700 chapters initiated. Because when our people vote, we know we win.
That's right.
As a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania native, during the 2020 election, I saw it firsthand how they wanted to stop us from voting. They tried everything in their power, but Pennsylvania still went blue. They tried it in Georgia, Georgia still went blue.
Real
They
blue.
tried it in Arizona, and Arizona still went blue. So, brothers and sisters, the legacy of Alpha Phi Alpha is that 7 college men with a need, an idea, and commitment begin what is now an almost 115-year-old world. We know firsthand that it doesn't take a big group or a big plan to accomplish or make meaningful difference.
Yeah.
So today, whether you focus just on your street or on your family, we have to do something together. And as I dream today, I will be remiss not to share the gravity of repeating the mistakes of the past. So as we look towards our future in unity, this year should serve as a reminder not to take backward steps.
No, sir.
And allow a spirit of hate to consume this nation.
Forward together.
Not to let the turmoil of our history affect the advancement of our people.
Yeah.
And most of all, not to fall in the trap of complacency, but to be uncomfortable with the threat against our democracy. Today, let's get in good trouble.
Good trouble.
So as I take my seat in the back of this church, I need everybody to remember this fight is not over. And actually, I need you to turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, the fight is not over.
The fight is not
And
over.
the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated stands ready to be on the battlefield.
We are.
To do the work.
Yes, sir.
So that we can progress
Yes,
as
sir.
one.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Very good.
Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated, Richard Mattox.
All right, Brother Mattox.
Good evening, brothers.
Good evening.
Good afternoon. Hey, good morning.
All right.
I'm Richard B. Mattox, the Senior Province Vice Polemarch of the Eastern Province and the National Social Action Chair of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I come today representing the 34th president, to many of you, the 34th Polemarch of Kappa Alpha Psi, Reuben Shelton, Esquire. I also come representing the 170,000 brothers and their families of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, joining the 1.2 million members of NPHC. I come here today because Kappa Alpha Psi will no longer stand quietly watching our votes be taken away. As a native Mississippian, growing up in a rural area where we know the struggles, it's not a hot out here. It wasn't too hot for Fannie Lou Hamer. Come on. It wasn't too hot for Medgar Evers.
Yeah.
And it's not too hot for us. We're here today because we know that the John Lewis Voting Rights Act means a lot to those brothers, those families, those people that look like us. The For the People's Act, once again, it's another piece of legislation. As a former staffer in the office of the second African-American congressman from the state of Mississippi, Congressman Benny G. Thompson, who now chairs the Insurrection Committee. So standing here today brings me great pride to see brothers of all shades. As brother said earlier, our hues extend far beyond just who we are. But I stand here today, brothers, and saying, let's end the filibuster. Let's pass H.R. 1, S1, H.R. 4. Let's take our rights back. Let's continue to vote. Let's stand for the sisters, the brothers. My aunt, as I was talking to her this morning, as I was driving down here, she said her first opportunity to vote was in 1958. And she had to pay $2 for 2 consecutive years in 1958. That is equivalent to 4 hours of work during that time, and she was 18 years old. So, brothers, when we stand here today, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. And we stand on the shoulders of all of those who shed blood those who made the significant sacrifices, the ultimate sacrifices. Coming from rural Mississippi, there was, while all the focus is on Georgia, Congressman Johnson, and we were all there for the runoff, and my daughter went early. But what we do recognize is that the voting rights of all our people are just as important. The challenges we face today, Brother Brooks, are the same challenges that you faced at Jackson State in 1983. Those are the same challenges that we have continued to face. And we cannot allow our kids to miss this opportunity to be a part of who we are. So I say to all of us, they live well who live for something that will outlast themselves. Thank you.
Black men, they matter here. 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 Sisters, they matter here. Sisters, they matter here. Sisters, they matter here. Sisters, they matter here.
More MIP after this message.
Ken Rogers, y'all. Ken Rogers. Omega Psi. Omega Psi Phi. Fraternity Incorporated.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
I am Kenneth Rogers, proud member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, a fraternity that prides itself on community service and activism. And I stand here today on behalf of our national president, Dr. David Marion. Omega Psi Phi has over 700 chapters across the country, more than 200,000 members, and we pride ourselves on community service. We have voter rights education programs as well as people to the poll programs. We are ensuring that our people has an opportunity to cast their vote for the congressmen and the policies that best represent their communities. I stand here today in support of H.R. 1S1 for the People Act, as well as for the John Lewis Voter Registration Act. Omega stands behind this policy. Not today.
Not today. Not today. Brother Chris Ray. Brother Chris Ray. All right. Brother Chris. Phi Beta Sigma Incorporated.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris Ray. I'm the International First Vice President of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. I stand here this afternoon on behalf of not only our hundreds of thousands of brothers around the world, but on behalf of my ancestors, those who have fought in every generation for access to the ballot box. I stand here today to send a message with my brothers to those who cower in dark rooms, trying to change the rules to the game, that we see you, that we know what you're doing, and that we are not going anywhere. The next generation of us are here to send a message to you that we will continue to fight until all folks have the right to vote. In the words of John Lewis, a great Sigma man, he says that we gather here together in order to get in good trouble, necessary trouble, and that the vote is the most important nonviolent act that will change the generations of people. The vote allows for us access to the ballot box. The vote allows us to be able to have access to quality education. The vote allows us to get affordable health care. The vote allows us to send people to Washington, D.C. in order to pass an infrastructure bill to bring jobs to our communities, to be able to improve the quality of life. The vote. The vote is necessary. And so I'm asking each and every one of you as I stand with my brothers and my sisters today to let them know that we are here to fight, and we will keep on fighting. And we will fight until hell freezes over. And then after that, we will fight on the ice. Right. We will vote, we will fight, and we will continue to make sure that all people have that right. Thank you all.
All right. Hey, hey, ho, ho. The filibuster has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. The filibuster has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. The filibuster has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho, the filibuster has got to go. I want to bring up my brother, Black Male Voter Project. He's been sounding the cry for a long time about how we need to recognize the importance of black male voters. Mondale Robinson.
What's good, y'all? It's real quick. You've heard all about the filibuster. You heard about the John Lewis Act. You heard about For the People Act. here's the lie that nobody's talking about. Why is bipartisanship important in order for progress? It's not. It's not. Republicans don't talk about bipartisanship when they're doing harm to our people all over this country in all manners. Why now, when we have power in all three houses, are we talking about bipartisanship at the expense of all of this legislation that we were promising voters all 22?
Make it plain.
That's right.
Mr. President, you have an obligation to stop talking about partisanship and talk about the hurt that's been inflicted on our communities at the expense of y'all laziness. Do something. Do something. Or suffer the consequences in 2022.
Speak on it, brother.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
That's right. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
We want voting rights. What do we want?
Voting rights.
And when do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
If we don't get it,
Shut it down.
If we don't get it,
Shut it down.
I said if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
All right. I think he's busy over there. I think we got all of our scheduled speakers. Am I correct?
It is our duty to fight.
It is our duty to fight.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
For we have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight.
It is our duty to fight.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
For we have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
More MIP after this message.
I think we got one last speaker, Daryl Jones. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Brother Daryl Jones. He's been such a big help in making this happen. From the Transformative Justice Coalition, my brother, Daryl Jones.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you. Folks, 400 pieces of voter suppression legislation have been introduced across this country in over 40 states.
Yep.
All of those legislation, every piece of that legislation would have failed had the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act been in place. Every one of those pieces of legislation would have failed had the For the People Act been in place. Folks, we gather here today to get arrested to free to vote. That's what we're here for, to free to vote.
Come on.
Don't get it confused. We are not here for anything personal. This is about our rights and the rights of our children yet unborn. We are here to free the vote. Folks, let's go free this vote. Free the vote!
Free to 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 vote!
Brothers, just a couple things, and grateful. Has everyone spoken? And all the brothers, the Panhellenic brothers, everybody spoken? So I think we've got all the speakers. So now this is the situation. This is considered a demonstration because we're chanting. So we're not going to do any more chanting right now because everyone is not signed up to be arrested. All right? So we're going to wait here. We'll stay here and gather momentarily. Some of us will be taken in, and then we will do whatever we're going to do on the inside. But let me just say a few words. I think we all, if we can applaud, one more thing, Captain, if we want to applaud Black Voters Matter, let's give them a round of applause. It is also significant that all of the historically black fraternities, well, at least 4 of them are here. I unfortunately did not pledge a fraternity per se, but I'm still in the family. My grandfather founded Beta Omicron at Tennessee State University in 1934. I pledged, I went to Georgetown, they didn't allow fraternities. And so Coach Thompson asked me to work for his basketball team. I pledged John Thompson. And if you know anything about him, that was a fraternity. Amen.
Wow. And you got Hayes.
That's right. And I know Coach, we lost him less than a year ago. We all miss him terribly. But he's still watching over us and would be here. Every time we did something, he was present and he was supportive. Now, 26 years ago, where's Latasha? Black women supported us as black men on the other side of that Kappa for the Million Man March. Amen? So we can support them over this 2-week period that they're demonstrating.
That's right.
That's what we do as a family.
Bring the history. Bring the history.
And real black men are not threatened by black women taking and showing leadership. No. Because as African people,
that's what it's about.
We come from a matrilineal society.
Yes.
We are descendants from queens and kings. The other societies, the other cultures come from a patrilineal society. And so we support our sisters. That is why we're here. Just a word or two, and we also got to stay clear of the door, because if we block the door, that's a demonstration. So we got to be sure we're not in front of the door. To be clear, one of the main issues that we're facing here, obviously, is what? The filibuster. We're dealing with the filibuster. And I think we ought to take a minute to understand what a filibuster really is and where it comes from.
1837.
It comes from a Spanish word, filibustero.
Yes.
Come on. And what filibuster was, the definition was a filibusterer was someone that went into another country or another space and agitated, fomented, provocateured a revolution or an overthrow or an insurrection. That's what filibuster means. It is fomenting that. Hey, brother, come on up here. It is fomenting that. This is Mike Esper. Is that Mike? Come on, Mike. Say, bro.
Yeah.
This is our brother Mike Esper working down in Mississippi.
That's right. Good work.
Yo, Mississippi is within reach.
Yes, it is.
It's within reach. So we're glad to see Mike. So a filibuster, there were people called filibusterers in the antebellum South before the Civil War. They wanted to go into Cuba. That's why they still had the issue in Cuba right now. They wanted to go into Cuba and Mexico and the Caribbean and other parts of Latin America and annex those territories to be slave states, to enlarge the Confederacy. That's what the original filibusterers were doing. That is why, where's our Texas delegation? That is why it was the filibusterers that were so anxious to annex Texas into the Union because it held slaves. So it was the filibusterers who were responsible for trying to expand American expansionism as foreign policy in Latin America, in Mexico, in the Caribbean, to annex more slave states to come on in with Texas.
That's right.
That's what it was all about. Later, it gained this modern day terminology, where you use it to block and thereby legalize lynching by blocking anti-lynching legislation.
That's right.
By blocking civil rights legislation. But as I said originally, it was a revolution and an insurrection. So if a filibuster was an insurrection, and there are those today who support this filibuster, then those people are insurrectionists, along with the people they are excusing for causing the insurrection on January 6th. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this with these officers present. I know some of these, many of these Capitol Police officers. Some of them are my friends. This is Washington, D.C. It's a small town. Some of these sisters and brothers who work for the Capitol Police, it's their job. They come here. It's a good job to have. It's a good career to have. They up here to be attacked on January 6th.
That's right.
By a party that has a hashtag back the blue. By a party that attacks us for saying defund. And yet when the money came forward to the to give more money to the Capitol Police to do their job better, they voted to defund the Capitol Police. That is a contradiction. We're not here to cause that trouble. We're not here to hurt the Capitol Police. We are here to participate in a nonviolent action to end the filibuster for all it means, all it has done to prevent our voting rights, to prevent us from having anti-lynching legislation, Rashad, to prevent us from having civil rights legislation, to prevent us today from having the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, For the People Act, the John Lewis Act. And we know once H.R. 40 is passed on the floor, they're going to try to do the same thing here.
Sure they're going to do it.
So this filibuster has got to go. Now, one other thing I'll say about a filibuster. A minority is making a decision on behalf of a majority. And this particular minority using the filibuster is a minority that is preventing our right to vote. When a minority prevents a people in a majority having a right to vote, what's another word for that? Apartheid. Apartheid. A minority controlling a majority. And the majority of Americans, be they black or white, want voting rights.
That's right.
So this is a minority practicing apartheid.
That's right.
Against those of us who are married, while they hold this building hostage, while they hold democracy hostage, while they speak with forked tongues and say they support law enforcement and yet send people up here with flagpoles to throw glass at and beat up law enforcement and bring harm to them. So all of these contradictions exist. We are here to prevent all this. We're here to stand with our sisters.
That's right.
And so the last thing I'll say is get ready.
Make it plain.
Because it's time to come back
Make it plain.
to the sacred space.
Make it plain.
And so we're inviting everyone back here.
That's right.
On August 28th
That's right.
at the Lincoln Memorial to stand where Dr. King stood, who said he refused to believe the moral bank of justice is bankrupt.
Yeah.
Refused to believe that we should continue to get checks marked insufficient funds.
That's right.
So we will return to the sacred space to stand up for voting rights.
That's right.
To restore voting rights.
Yeah.
To reimagine public safety.
Yes.
To gain reparations.
Yes.
To do all of these things, to remove the filibuster.
Come on.
Yes.
Everyone in unity is invited. Everyone. I want everybody to be clear about this. Everyone in unity.
Right.
Under Black Voters Matter and other organizations. All of us will come together.
Come together.
In unity to stand in that sacred space and declare our justice, declare our rights for all. And that is why we're here today, and we will continue to stand with our sisters in doing that. We are beautiful people. We are an African people.
That's right.
We deserve our rights. And so it is no contradiction for women to stand and for men to stand behind them. It's also not always a contradiction when women stand behind us. Because Dick Gregory said, even when a black woman stands behind a black man, like it says in the song, surely goodness and mercy is following me all the days of my life.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, give it up for Reverend Mark Thompson.
Thanks for getting woke and listening to Make It Plain. Please remember to listen, like, and wherever you get your podcasts, please give the show a 5-star rating. And please do spread the word. Let's all continue to pray for each other during this pandemic and this police-demic. If all hearts and minds are clear, it has been made plain.